the track is built on an old runway, there's actually a lot of dust that gets kicked up a lot, especially during Sector 2. And that does have an effect in terms of the way these cars handle, because obviously the cars will be slipping around a lot more, especially when they start to hit the dust. But one thing for sure is that with the amount of clouds out in the sky there, a lot of people in the pits are actually speculating on whether or not there will be rain during this race, because rain here in this particular racetrack provides a really interesting effect. Like normally on a regular racetrack, rain usually means that your cars will have to slow down a lot more because the lack of grip, the wet conditions, etc. But rain on this particular circuit actually cleans up the track a little bit more, which means that all the dust and all the leftover bits of rubber on the track actually gets washed off, and that actually allows some of these guys not only to get like similar lap times as if they were racing in the dry, but also sometimes it could be even faster in the wets compared to a dry surface.
Boy Wong just now on our screen had a disaster yesterday with an accident, with a collision in the racetrack. Here with bigger spirits and bigger smiles, big thumbs up from him just now, as you can see on the screen. Definitely will look towards making sure that he ends this race this time. Hopefully he will avert any disaster that decides to unleash itself or reveal itself in this super sporting class. It has been a very dramatic 3 races thus far. Throughout the entire tournament, throughout the entire festival, we did see a lot of collisions, we did see a lot of challenges, we did see a lot of aggressive plays from drivers in this race. But is there going to be anything that you predict that could come out for the super sporting class today, Victor?
Well, I'm looking at the grid right now, and it looks like Tengku Jan is going to be starting in the 3rd row. So if that is actually going to be his start position, that's certainly going to be very interesting, because in terms of his pacing in race number 1, he was by far and large the fastest guy on the track. So I think we're definitely going to be seeing if this is the actual starting position, and yeah, indeed it is, because we're going to be reading through now the starting grid of this race. So row number 1 is going to be held by Kenny Lee and Shafiq Ali, and row number 2 will be held by William Ho and Freddie Ang. Row number 3 will be fielded by Mark Darwin and Tengku Jan Lei.
Well, this is going to be very interesting to see now that Tengku Jan Lei has changed his position. However, in row number 4, Brendan Lim from Tedco Racing, as well as Brendan Paul at 7th and 8th spot. Boy Wong in row 5 at position number 9 in car 21. So in terms of what we have seen thus far, Victor, it is going to be interesting whether or not Tengku Jan Lei will still be able to maintain his spot, because despite the fact that he will be the fastest man on the track, considering that there will be at least 3 to 4 cars ahead of him, it could prove very, very difficult for him to get an overtake, considering how defensive some of these drivers will be in terms of defending their racing line and trying to shut the door onto Tengku Jan Lei with his advances.
Well, on the contrary though, in my opinion actually, the thing is that with the way the drivers have been doing their overtakes compared when you look at the previous races, like going out the exit of turn 5 is, I think it's going to be much easier actually for Tengku Jan if he decides to just use that spot in order to make his overtakes, because again, we've seen consistently that he's able to push through some of these corners much faster. So sector 1 and sector 2 is not going to be a big issue for him, I think, in terms of the pacing. But given that turn 5 is going to be rather wide there, especially leading up towards turn 6, that whole area here is just a huge buffet in terms of overtaking. So anyone who just unfortunately happens to be in Tengku Jan's way, he's going to leave them in the dust for sure.
Well, definitely could be a very interesting spot. So let's talk a little bit about overtake opportunities for these races. So we did say that turn 5 could be a possibility for some overtakes, depending on whether they take it on the inside or the outside of the particular turn. What other turns within this track could provide an opportunity for any of these drivers to overtake one another?
A really difficult spot, but I think it's going to be very likely, especially during the start of the race, is going to be turn 1 for sure. Like, this is going to be typical for any sort of racing event where, you know, the first turn and the first lap is where the cars are the closest with each other. And if you are able, as a driver, get a really good start off the line there, that's going to actually allow you to get a bit of a jump start and get ahead of them when it comes to the entry of turn 1. So then after that, like, I think the best other place would possibly be between turn 3 and turn 4. Like, this is a point where the cars have already slowed down a little bit, coming into braking from turn 2 onwards. And this is going to be a place where if one of the drivers actually braked a little bit too hard through turn 2, they're going to lose a lot of momentum because he had to carry the momentum from turn 3 to turn 4. And any driver who is able to maximize their momentum through that corner can actually find themselves quickly overtaking some guys just before they hit the runway.
Now let's talk a little bit about tuning and performances across the board. So now that everyone will be using the same particular vehicle tuned to the same specific specs, what are the biggest factors that could aid any of these races to either maintain the dominant lead or try to overtake and try to challenge other races in terms of where they are on the grid?
So here's the thing though, like all the cars here are running on the same performance. They're also running at the same sort of like tuning level. So what I mean by this is that these are obviously heavily modified Toyota Vios cars, and they're actually using pretty much a stock engine. They have changed the air filter as well as a changed exhaust pipe, and they're also using the same ECU that is used on the road-going cars. The key difference between these cars and the road-going cars is that they have a custom suspension setup provided by TRD, which involves like custom shocks and custom anti-roll bars. And as far as the rest of the car goes, it's completely stripped out. They're trying to minimize the weight as much as possible. And this leads me to another point here, which is that these cars here, because all of them are running basically the same type of setup, the only way to differentiate them is going to be on the weight that they are allowed to carry on the cars. Some of these cars are carrying heavier ballasts, some of these cars are having lower ballasts, and these are based on their performance in the previous race.
Well, with the warm-up lap complete, the green flag already being waved, it is about time to go for our race, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're ready. We are in the Super Quarter lap for race number 2, and here we go!
All these guys are going out exactly the same time. Looks like car number 8 is going to be leading the pack. In the meantime, on the backside there, we see the blue car, 39 of William Cole, trying to make a move onto Freddie out there. Brandon Paul is going to be leading just ahead of Boy Wong. Oh, there's a little bit of crash there in the front there. It looks like William Cole has unfortunately sustained a lot of damage, and he's going to be left out in the dust. But that's going to be good news here for Kenny Lee, because he's going to have a very wide lead ahead of Shafiq Ali in car number 7. But in the meantime, Tengku Jan from behind there, he overtakes Mark Darwin on the side. He's going to try to go in front, but it looks like Brandon Paul is going to try to make a move onto Tengku Jan as well, but he has to go in one car file line into the chicane there. He's going to have to give up his position, and Tengku Jan makes his way into the podium position before they enter turn 4.
Turn 4 has been very, very revealing here for Tengku Jan Lei from 6th spot, if I'm not mistaken, climbing up to 3. So it is going to be very interesting to see how he is going to come up from this, and will he be able to climb higher and higher, because Shafiq Ali as well as Kenny Lee is going to be in his sidelines. Beautiful overtake coming in from Tengku Jan Lei. Very, very well done from that long straight and heading into that 4th turn chicane.
Yeah, so I think there might be a problem with Mark Darwin's car at the moment, because he is severely off the pace there. Remember, he came in 2nd place in the first race, but when it came to race number 2 here, he seems to be struggling quite a lot. Here we see Freddie Ang with a puncher on his front left, and he's limping his way from turn 4. Safety car is called out here to try to clear the obstruction on the runway, and it looks like these racers will have to put a little bit of a damper on their racing experience here.
Very, very unfortunate for the racers right now. As the safety car comes out, it is going to be very revealing to see who will come up on top in race number 2, with Tengku Jan Lei coming up on top yesterday. Will he continue to come up on top? But remember, ladies and gentlemen, safety is the #1 priority. With the safety car in, everyone has to maintain their positioning and maintain a certain level of speed, which allows a little bit of that gap being closed between racers. So we did see yesterday that with the safety car coming in, a lot of opportunities for drivers to actually close the gap between themselves has revealed itself. However, despite the fact that such opportunity did reveal itself, there were still instances where the dominant pole position drivers still maintain top position because of just because of how they approach some of the chicanes.
Yeah, but this time though, Deng Gujian is going to be starting from 3rd position. So the thing is, having a really good run at the restart is going to be absolutely important for him if he wants to take another win here on race number 2. So again, just want to remind you guys that the drivers from number 1 to number 6 are starting in reverse order. That is why Deng Gujian started from 6th position. But credit to him because of how fast and how tenacious he is. He's able to fight his way to go up to 3rd place. And it looks like the green flags will be coming out now. The races will be coming to the restart. And it seems like Kenny Lee is able to get a really good pull out the way from Shafiq Ali. Deng Gujian is just watching from the back line though, as Mark Darwin now seems like he's able to get his car in order. He's going to go ahead and try to have a look into the inside. I think of Brendan Lim as he comes around towards turn 4. He's going to try to go for an outside exit, it looks like, as we see the entire train of cars come around the side here, but it looks like he had to back off a little bit. It looks like I think that is Freddie Ang just is coming out of the pits now at the end of the restart, and he's going to be coming in to rejoin the race.
Well, this could be interesting to see as contact between cars number 3 and 39 will be under investigation, as we do see that it was, I think, around after turn number 4, if I'm not mistaken, just before the long straight into turn number 5 is where contact happened. So we did see a little shades of Brendan Paul's practice run from Friday repeating itself. However, instead of a barrier, it is going to be another vehicle, and almost a little bit of contact there. Looks like it was a little bit of contact from our angle. However, there is still a little bit of a distance between themselves as they are going to be heading.
Mark Darwin having a look at the inside there. He's going to try to get past Brendan Lin. He does have the inside line as he comes down to find a corner. Brilliant overtaking move from car 63 as he comes across the line to take P6. That's a P5.
And see that Brendan Lin right now in jeopardy as he gets knocked down to position number 6. Is Mark Darwin with effective driving, taking the outside line to take away 5th position from Brendan Lim.
Bit of a counter-attack there for Brendan Lim. He's going to have a little look on the bumper there. He's going to try to take the inside line and come down the runway. A bit of a side-by-side swipe here. Mark Darwin and Brendan Lim just literally pushing each other as they come down along the runway. Who's going to be first one to give up here? They have to let one of these guys through when it comes to chicane. They have to get through. Who's going to be first one to chicken out here? Looks like it's going to be Brendan Lim as Mark Darwin comes in through first through the chicane and to break in for turn number 4. But Brendan, he's not going to be done yet. He's going to try to go to the inside. Almost hooks him out there. But Mark Darwin takes a really brilliant outside line and stays in P5.
Beautiful tire action that led up to a beautiful turn outside of the turn 5. Nicely done coming in from the side of Brendan Lim. However, Mark Darwin was wise to shut down the door onto Brendan Lim, denying his advance.
Exactly, and Mark Darwin is going to be able to keep it through sector 2, but Brendan Lim is definitely thinking about where he can try to make a counter-attack. He almost had a chance here coming out of turn 3, and the final turn here, this was where Mark Darwin managed to make that move, but in the meantime, we do see the Gujan starting to make some moves here. He's having a really good on the behind of Shafiq Ali. Perhaps Shafiq might need to defend really hard here because the Gujan is coming his way.
Beautiful stuff there being shown coming in from Tegu Janle as well as Shafiq Ali as they are coming out towards that turn, and it seems that it's going to be another long straight here before an opportunity may show itself towards Tegu Janle. Shafiq Ali right now still ahead of Tegu Janle as Kenny Lee gets a little bit more space between themselves as they go into the chicane, as they go into that straight track right into the 5th chicane, the 5th turn chicane coming out of this turn.
Tegu Jan going for a wider entry here. It's going to try to get a good exit, but unfortunately tucks himself up right behind Shafiq Ali. In the meantime, Mark Darwin, his next victim here is going to be Brendan Paul in car 22, and what a clean overtaking move there, cutting him off just before the exit. There was no way Brendan Paul will be getting past him.
Mark Darwin, beautiful entry, beautiful exit onto Brendan Paul. Brendan Paul was not able to close the door onto Mark Darwin, and Mark Darwin advances himself towards fourth spot from 5th, and we see it time and time again. Mark Darwin right now showing his prowess, showing his understanding of the racetrack as well as his racing line, was able to come ahead on top of Brendan Paul. Beautifully done as they are going to go through the starting line.
Mark Darwin now up into P4. Brendan Paul, his troubles may not be over yet as Brendan Lim is starting to have a really good look at his behind as it comes down towards turn 1. So Brendan Paul could be in trouble there. Remember, he had a massive crash in practice, and that seemed to have affected his car's performance. So it's really a matter of hanging on there for Brendan Paul in order to be able to keep his but Mark Darwin now leaving the rest of these guys up in the dust as now he's starting to chase up to Tengku Jan.
Tengku Jan right now may be chased up from the side of Mark Darwin as Mark Darwin sets sights on to Tengku Jan. However, a little bit of a big difference here in terms of space between himself and Tengku Jan. So, but before that, we're going to go into the dreaded fifth turn here for a little bit of bumper action. However, nothing too serious in that turn. As they attack it, we do see right now another opportunity from the side of Tengku Jan Lei, trying to go out onto the outside, but it has to be close.
No, not quite there. He tried to go for the outside on the entry in order to be able to slip into the inside, try to go for the switcheroo. Didn't quite work out though because Shafiq Ali kept a very nice defensive line there. Brilliant defensive moves actually from car number 7 there. So it looks like Shafiq Ali will maintain P2 for now, but will he be able to hang on though? It looks like Tengku Jan is just literally counting his chances now. But the thing is, at least for Brendan Paul, you know, he definitely is showing that his car is not quite up to the pace here as Brendan Lim for a few times there. He managed to close in on him, especially during turn 4. So Brendan definitely needs to up his offensive driving skills here in order to be able to stay in his position 5.
Well, we do see a lot of pressure being exerted onto Shafiq Ali from the side of Tengku Jan Lei. Mark Darwin still a little bit too far away from Tengku Jan Lei to do any kind to apply any kind of pressure as they head towards the 5th turn here. Beautiful stuff. We do see another battle there transpiring between the two Brendas, Paul and Lim, and 5th and 6th spot as they exit onto that straight line trap onto the chicane here. Beautiful stuff. However, no attempts coming in from either drivers from 5th and 6th spot.
So Boy Wong in car 21 is only going to have to watch on as the battle continues for the place of P5 there, with Brendan Paul still holding onto it despite having a slightly less optimal car. And the thing is that Brendan Lim still is not able to close the gap in coming into sector 2, so he's going to have to try again. There's still a lot of laps here, 14 laps to go in fact, so Brendan Lim can definitely bide his time here and wait for the right opportunity to strike.
Beautifully done there, coming in from the side of Boy. However, in front of him, Brendan Lim and Brendan Paul are going to be jostling for the 5th spot individually, as we do see Brendan Paul right now moving on to the 5th spot with Brendan Lim looking to steal it away. Mark Darwin still stuck fairly away from Tengku Jan Lei. Tengku Jan Lei looking to pressuring more to Shafiq Ali. Shafiq Ali trying to return that pressure onto Kenny Lee. However, the amount of space between Kenny Lee as well as Shafiq Ali is way too vast.
Yeah, indeed. And the thing is that Shafiq Ali, he's constantly keeping an eye on his rearview mirror, I expect, because Tengku Jan is constantly giving him pressure behind, especially coming out of turn 4. Because remember, the exit of turn 4 presents the best possible opportunity for overtake. And speaking of which, you know, Brendan Paul knows this, and he's going to try to use a very defensive line there, as you can see, coming into turn 4, and that's completely preventing any way for Brendan Lim to find a way past. But Brendan Lim is still going to try anyway. He does get a little bit of good exit. He's going to, however, attack him from the outside. Doesn't quite have a lot of speed though, so Brendan Paul definitely still will be able to defend his position, and he does close the door on him as they enter into turn 6.
Beautifully done there, coming in for Brendan Paul to deny Brendan Lim's attempts towards taking away position number 5, closing the door onto Brendan Lim onto the outside. So beautifully done from Brendan Paul's defensive driving. However, it seems that more and more pressure is going to be applied by Brendan Lim here as they are heading into the next turn of that first turn.
To credit him though, he is really defending very hard there, and it's really a testament to his skills as a driver there, because, you know, even though you're not fast, but speaking of which, bit of a contact! No, Brendan Paul has just been slidden out there. Brendan Lim is going to slow down. It's going to allow Boy walk through. It looks like Brendan Lim is going to be going out of this race. He's going to retire there, right there and then, and that's definitely going to be good news here for Brendan Paul, because now he has one less thing to worry about. But what an unfortunate incident there. Brendan Lim, he cuts the inside of Brendan Paul as he comes through turn 3, and that unfortunately is going to end his race. Man, what a disappointment there for Brendan Lim.
Another dramatic turn of events here as we take a look at that replay. Man, oh man, it seems that cars number 39 and cars number 86, Brendan Lim as well as Brendan Paul, if I'm not mistaken, are going to be taken out.
Yeah, and not sure why they showed Kenny Lee's name there. That's actually Brendan Lim in the 86 car, who definitely looking really dejected after having to retire. Definitely some front left damage there to his car, so there's no way he could continue on with this race. So unfortunately him, up until that point, he was actually fighting so hard against Brendan Paul to take P5, but it looks like it's just slipped by his fingers there. But in the meantime, on the front of the grid, it looks like Tengku Jan, just off camera, has already made the move onto Shafiq Ali and is now into P2. Only one man stands between him and P1, and that is Kenny Lee.
And from 6th position, he's managed to climb past 4 different people to get into position number 2. Next up in his sights, Tengku Janle is going to be Kenny Lee. However, Shafiq Ali looking to apply the same pressure that has been applied from the side of Tengku Janle throughout the past 9 laps that has gone by.
But unfortunately for him though, just look at the way Tengku Jan is literally pulling away from him at this point. So it's going to be quite a while though before Shafiq Ali will be able to make a move. But speaking of moves though, Boy Wong looking to try to make a move of his own onto Brendan Paul, taking the outside line here as it comes towards turn 6. Brendan is going to try his best to break as late as possible here in order to stay just ahead of him. He does have the inside line, perfect defensive drive there for Brendan Paul as they come in one car line into turn 6 and into turn 7. And it looks like Brendan Paul successfully defends his position on P5. Bit of a slide there as he comes out towards the last turn, but he still comes across the line with Boy Wong still behind him.
The turn 10 was not enough for Boy Wong to get that outside, to get that line to overtake Brendan Paul. Brendan Paul, beautiful defensive driving here, coming in to deny that door opening for the side of Boy Wong. However, Boy Wong still on return with this attempt here, staying very close behind Brendan Paul.
So the thing is that, you know, given that Brendan Paul was really far behind in race number 1, his hopes right now in race number 2 is basically get as much points as he can, because he knows he's very much off the pace here with a damaged car. So the fact that he's able to hold off Boy Wong, who is last season's champion, is surely a testament to his skills as a defensive driver here. And look at the way he's defending going into turn 4, is keeping the door closed there onto Boy Wong, but he left a little bit of a gap there. Boy Wong unfortunately not able to capitalize though. He didn't quite have the exit he needed to try to get past Brendan Paul there, but it looks like he's still going to try taking the draft there, going along side by side. This is the same move he attempted in the last lap, but Brendan Paul still is going to be able to close the door into him as he comes down towards turn 6.
Beautiful stuff here coming in, and it seems that the track is wet as a wet session has been announced. This is going to be very interesting to see how this is going to transpire for our drivers and what kind of adjustments that have to be made in terms of speed, as well as how some of these turns are going to be attacked by these drivers.
Yeah, I think the drivers just had to be a little bit cautious to some of the faster turns, but the thing is, you know, as we mentioned, if a wet race is actually going to be on the cars here, that could actually be really good here for the drivers, because it's going to clean up the track a lot more. But I'm afraid that if the rain is going to be a little bit spotty like this, I think it's going to be the added mix of like dirt as well as wetness is going to definitely have a bit of an effect here on the amount of grip these cars can get. And we're looking at the undercarriage of Kenny Lee. It seems like there's a little bit of a panel fluttering there. I'm not sure if that's a little bit of damage to his undercarriage, but hopefully it's not going to affect his race though. And just looking at the timing boards, it doesn't seem to have done so, because he's just set his best lap time so far.
However, we do see that despite the fact that he did set his best time, not too far behind is also Tengku Janle with a better time with 1:17.169 of a second. So this could be an opportunity for the side of Tengku Janle. He is building up speed. However, the amount of distance between himself as well is going to be a big factor here in terms of how Tengku Janle is going to be attacking.
Yeah, so Brendan Paul right now still trying to hold off the offensive here from Boy Wong as he comes down towards the last turn. It seems like the gap is starting to widen between the two there, as Boy Wong is just giving a little bit of room in order to try to at least keep his tires in check there. It's still 8 laps to go, so plenty of opportunity here for Boy Wong to try to make some gains. But in terms of gains though, it looks like Tengku Janle is still going to be sitting very comfortably in P2. He's not really in a hurry now to try to catch up to Kenny Lee, even though he is still consistently setting the best time. In fact, he did set the fastest lap time of the entire session so far, but he's still not able to close the gap onto Kenny Lee.
Well, it seems that this could be a big opportunity, and we do see now, because of how slippery some of the surface is for all the turns, this could be a very, very strong indicator of some of our drivers taking it a little bit more conservatively and how they attack some of these turns. We may see the times actually it may take a little longer for them to finish up the race as well, and some of the turns may be attacked with less speed compared to having a dry track, and that is mainly because of the amount of grip that they have on the track.
I wouldn't say it will be attacked with less speed. I'd just say that the drivers have to be a little bit more cautious about where they're braking and accelerating points are, because there's definitely going to be a little bit more wheel spin just because of the dampness of the surface. But quite frankly, in terms of the overall speed of these drivers, especially through some of these corners, is still going to be relatively the same, whether or not the track is dry or wet. So I think the main consideration for them is that they have to be mindful about which corners are particularly slippery and which corners are not, and just adjust the braking points accordingly.
As you can see, the undercarriage of Kenny Lee already showing a little bit of damage there. Doesn't seem to be affecting his overall performance coming in, as they are going to be attacking turn number 5 as they head out towards the chicane into another straight, into the second longest straight before heading into turn 6.
I mean, it just could be a plastic panel, so honestly it wouldn't affect anything in his undercarriage, but there could be risk of like some dirt or rocks actually getting thrown up into the car as it passes over the track. But honestly, I don't think it's anything to be too concerned about. I think Kenny Lee is showing, just in terms of his lap times, that he's still perfectly capable of driving the car as fast as he can.
And we do see right now that Tengku Janleh seems to be picking up a lot more speed compared to his past rounds here, getting a little bit better times comparatively. So I do believe that this could be an opportunity for Tengku Janleh to try to get into the race again, trying to get into the first place.
Well, the thing is, he needs to be able to step up those lap times. Right now, it's only stepping on 1:17, no doubt, because he's also being very cautious with the flags already being brought up due to the slippery wet track. So the thing is that he's definitely trying to gauge about where exactly can he try to push his car a little bit more, which corners are still dry enough for him to do so. But the thing is that with the sprinkle of rain starting to come in here, it's definitely it's kind of like a little dark cloud that's hanging over the drivers right now. Should I push this section? Should I not? You know, it's still up in the air.
Well, definitely that kind of doubt could definitely hamper a little bit of opportunities to overtake. As we look right now, it's going to be the fight here between Brendan Paul as well as Boy Wong. A little bit more space between themselves, and fourth
nice
spot,
move
however,
there.
Nicely done coming in.
Switcheroo there,
the
but
switcheroo.
Brendan Paul is still going to be ahead though. He has to be let through first into the chicane. So Boy Wong, despite his best attempts there, is not able to get side by side, but maybe he could try again once he come out on the exit here. Brendan Paul is going to be coming through. Boy Wong trying to pedal to the metal now, but he's still not able to overcome the amount of speed that Brendan Paul has at the exit. So they will be tucked in one after another as they come down towards turn 6. We can see lots of water spray coming out there from the rain that's starting to pour now onto the track.
Well, it is going to be interesting that now that the changes of weather will definitely be something of a consideration for all our drivers. We do see right now that Brendan Paul as well is riding in more, but Brendan Paul right now more on the defensive. It could be another opportunity for the side of Brendan Paul.
Boy Wong.
Excuse me, Boy Wong trying to get it, but no.
Brendan Paul really smart there. Left quite a bit of space there for Boy Wong, but Boy Wong is still not able to burst right through there. In the meantime, though, looks like Tengku Jan had not Tengku Jan. I think it's Mark Darwin actually right behind Shafiq Ali. It seems like he's already caught up to Shafiq Ali coming into turn 4, and perhaps we might see another overtake here. This time it's going to be for P3.
Mark Darwin right now putting in a little bit of pressure here, giving a little bit of flashes of the high beam there onto the side of Shafiq Ali, a little bit of playful gestures there from the side of Mark Darwin. Could be very interesting here, a little bit of friendly rivalry here between Shafiq Ali as well as Mark Darwin. And Mark Darwin looking to taking the pressure. We do see going back to Brendan Paul right now, but look at that. The final turn onto the straight before the starting line, and we do see Mark Darwin right now giving a little bit more pressure, trying to get that draft on. Goes to switcheroo, goes to the outside line, but not only hampers his ability to try to go for it as they're going to be battling for the third position.
Yeah, it's giving a little bit bit too much room there, so he's going to try to catch up as he comes down to his third train. Mark Darwin now definitely trying to keep Shafiq Ali in his sights here as he comes down the runway. Quite a bit of gap there between him and Shafiq Ali, but hopefully he will be able to make it up on the straights here using the draft off of Shafiq Ali's car. But definitely this is shaping up to be a exciting battle in the closing moments of this race with 4 laps to go. Now they're entering to the chicane. Shafiq Ali is still going to be coming out ahead for now as Mark Darwin going for a little bit of an outside move here. He's going to try to cut in through the exit here. Will he be able to make it though? He does close the gap as they come down towards turn 6, but he needs to be able to get the draft off of him before turn 7. He needs to be able to snatch the inside line from under Shafiq Ali if he wants to have any chance of overtake, but it seems like he doesn't quite have the pace yet. He's going to have to wait for the next lap.
Shafiq Ali right now trying his best to stop the pressure that's being applied from the side of Mark Darwin. Mark Darwin beautifully done. The setup that has closed a little bit of that gap from turn number 5 here. Definitely paying off as they approach turn number 10 before heading on to that last, heading on towards the starting line. We've got 3 more laps to go, ladies and gentlemen. 17 laps in the books already as we see the best time for the entire race thus far has been recorded from the side of Kenny Lee. We'll go back towards the third battle position here, the battle for third position here between Shafiq Ali and Mark Darwin. More and more reducing the space between themselves, getting closer and closer with Shafiq Ali feeling a little bit of pressure coming in from the side of Mark Darwin.
Yeah, it looks like Mark Darwin is trying his absolute best here to stay on his tail because he knows that is at sector 2, because coming to that final turn there, it seems like there's a bit of an issue for him to be able to pull away from Mark Darwin. A bit of a nudge in the back there from Mark Darwin as he comes down to his turn 4. Unfortunately, that does mean he sacrifices a bit of his exit speed there in order to try to keep the pressure on Shafiq Ali, but he knows that the next opportunity for him to try to make an overtake is going to be at the final turn as his pit mechanics still look on here, giving words of encouragement there for their drivers as now Mark Darwin continues to chase P3 right now. He wants to take it for Shafiq Ali. He needs to stay close to him. Coming to that final corner, Mark Darwin, he's going to try to make a move again here. Doesn't quite make it though. Closing the door there is Shafiq Ali as he comes across the line still in P3.
Nicely done there coming in from Shafiq Ali, going on the outside line to give a little bit of space for Mark Darwin, giving him the full run here in terms of how Mark Darwin was trying to attack that. However, the door was slammed shut on Mark Darwin as they try to go closer and closer. Mark Darwin right now getting closer and closer with 2 laps to go. Coming in opportunity here.
Yes, he does. He snatches it away. Mark Darwin is up on the podium now. If he can just keep Shafiq Ali at bay, he needs to be able to stay ahead of him going to the chicane. Shafiq Ali may have a chance to counterattack here because another overtaking point is coming ahead. But already the pit crew are celebrating and say, no, they've just witnessed some amazing moves here from Mark Darwin. Shafiq Ali taking it outside here. Mark Darwin taking a very defensive line as he comes down to his turn 4. Shafiq Ali needs to get a good exit, but no, he does not. He is still going to be staying in P4.
With 2 laps to go, Mark Darwin was able to attack Shafiq Ali really well and leaving Shafiq Ali in the dust, stealing away third position from him. Beautifully done from Mark Darwin, car number 63, and it was just beautiful class racing right there being shown from the side of Mark Darwin. We do see more and more action here coming in from the side of Shafiq Ali towards the side of Mark Darwin. Now it is the reverse. Mark Darwin will be the one defending, whereas Shafiq Ali will be the one on pressure.
Yeah, indeed, and Shafiq Ali is struggling to try to keep his car together going down the final turn. We saw him lose a little bit of his angle there as he came out towards the exit. But already, I think Mark Darwin has definitely shown that he's perfectly capable of handling any challenge that befalls him. And getting up into P3 there is definitely going to leave him smiling just as hard as he took P1 last race.
Beautifully done there, coming in from all these drivers. The biggest improvement towards this entire race has been Tengku Janle from 6th spot, climbing up towards 4th spot. Mark Darwin as well was able to climb up at least 2 spots from 5th all the way to third. However, this is the final lap. Could be another opportunity for the side of Shafiq Ali to try to get away with an overtake towards Mark Darwin. However, we are getting closer and closer towards the finish line. Could that possibility be closed for the side of Shafiq Ali as we head through the final lap, final few turns, excuse me?
I mean, just looking at the gap that's already starting to build up between Mark Darwin and Shafiq Ali, it's safe to say that Mark is already pulling very far away to to very securely hold on to P3. But speaking of secure holds here, Kenny Lee has been leading this race from start to finish here and still has held the Tekujan at bay. He comes and takes the checkered flag and takes his win here ahead of Tekujan, who takes P2. Mark Darwin taking P3 now. He's definitely going to be very happy with that result. Shafiq Ali taking a P4. Might someone say it's a disappointment, but overall I think he's still going to be very content with having the points there for P4. Brandon Paul defended his position 5 very, very handily all the way through there from Boy Wong, and he will be very happy with that P5 despite having started on a car that was slightly damaged from practice.
Well, it was beautifully done there coming in from all these races. Kenny Lee was able to maintain his pole position really well, showing a little bit of love towards his car right there, tapping the roof out of affection towards his vehicle. Definitely going to be big smiles for Kenny Lee from Kagani Racing.
And I think one more thing that Kenny Lee can be very proud of, he just set the fastest lap of this session on 1:16.9. So definitely he's coming home a big winner here. Definitely lots of jubilations for him, at least a lot of jubilations waiting him as he comes into the pits.
However, Tengku Janle as well, definitely no, not to be looked down upon with a crazy advancement from 5th position, if I'm not mistaken, 6th position, excuse me, climbing up from 6th all the way up towards 2nd place, handling with great driving and aggressive attacks off the racing line.
I mean, Tekujan is still the man to beat, to be entirely frank here, because, you know, going from P6 to P2, especially on the track that's this hard to overtake on, is no mean feat, and Tekujan definitely is showing, you know, that he is on an entirely different level on this super sporting class.
Mark Darwin, however, another name to be frightened of here. Beautifully done, and the amount of pressure that he was exerting to Shafiq Ali definitely was something to pay attention to, as Mark Darwin was just showing his class, showing his capability as well as his focus to maintain such a beautiful racing line against Shafiq Ali. Shafiq Ali stayed disciplined throughout, but one small mistake towards lap number 3, if I'm not mistaken, towards one of the turns was doomed for the side of Shafiq Ali, as Mark Darwin was able to steal 3rd position away from under the nose of Shafiq Ali with a beautiful attack of the racing line.
And that's the thing sometimes, you know, that's motor racing in a nutshell. Sometimes, even when you're trying to drive your best there, when you have the pressure coming from behind, it always makes you liable for making mistakes. So I think, like, it's not fair to say that, you know, Shafiq Ali lost his podium position because of mistake. Like, to be entirely fair, he was driving very nicely throughout the entire race. It's just that Mark Darwin is just that tad bit better, and he found that perfect opportunity there to make the overtake, and that was what made the difference.
Beautifully done there coming in from Mark Darwin. Both Mark Darwin as well as Shafiq Ali gave us a very action-packed fight in 3rd position. Let's take a look at the highlights before we continue on. And this was the start of the race, as you can see. Beautiful start of our race. Our drivers here with a little bit of a collision that was experienced there early on by William Ho as well as Brendan Lim.
Yeah, William Ho, excuse me. There was William Ho who actually ended up into the wall there, but there was a rear end contact that he had there, I think, with car number 86. And then this was a side-by-side we saw between Brendan Lim and Mark Darwin as he came along the runway, but then one of them had to give way there, and unfortunately it was Brendan Lim who had to give through there to allow Mark Darwin through, and that allowed Mark Darwin to maintain the P4 that we saw for the most of the race here. Brendan Paul expertly defending not against just one but 2 guys, as this was where Brendan Lim actually attempted to make a move there but failed completely, thus wrecking his own car and wrecking his own race. And for the rest of it, you know, we were witnessing how Tekujan was able to get past Shafiq Ali, and not only that, Mark Darwin as well, in order to take that podium position.
This is beautifully done here. This was most of the fight for 5th and 6th spot between Brendan Paul and Boy Wong. It was beautifully done between both of them as they were jostling for 5th and 6th spot respectively, but beautiful attack attempts here coming in from the side of Boy Wong. However, Brendan Paul was just a little bit ahead and was not going to allow any advancement coming in from the side of Boy Wong.
Yeah, and you want to know what else is also actually really impressive, because we did mention this before the start of the race here, as we see Mark Darwin attempting to make that move at that last turn there. You know, like, actually both Tekujan and Mark Darwin are carrying an extra 25 kilograms of weight. So you just imagine, like, you're already at a handicap now with the amount of weight you have, and still they're still able to make those kind of moves on track. That is certainly something to be to admire from these drivers.
Beautifully done there. As you can see, that turnaround pass coming in from the side of Mark Darwin to jubilations and celebrations of his pit team. Definitely applause is the cause for the cause for applause for the pit crew. Definitely, as Mark Darwin handily attacks Shafiq Ali as he heads into that last checkered flag. Beautifully done from the side of Mark Darwin, and applause coming in from members of the pit crew. Nicely done as celebrations and fist bumps in the air.
So here are the final results. Kenny Lee takes the win here for Bugatti Racing in P1. In P2, we have W. John Lay of 23 Motors taking P2 here. Mark Darwin from Laser Motor Racing taking P3. So that's the final of the podiums there. Shafiq Ali from the N7 Japan Project team takes P4. Brandon Paul from Dream Chaser takes a P5. Roy Wong, last season's winner, is only going to be going over P6. And the rest of the lap here is going to be Freddie Ang, P7, Brendan Lim in P8, and Gwyneth Ho in P9. These three drivers unfortunately had to retire from the race.
Well, it is very unfortunate for them. However, it is going to be more opportunities for them. But the opportunities end here for today. However, it is going to be done and dusted for our drivers for today. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Kuala Lumpur City here, coming to you live from Toyota Gazoo Racing Festival. We will be back with more action for the sporting class in a bit, so don't go anywhere.
Listen. Here is the sound of respect. The sound of unparalleled style. The sound of a car that says everything without saying anything. A car engineered to push standards, to push the status quo. There's only one place to go for a car like that. Forward. The all-new Corolla. Unspoken class.
Toyota, all about the drive. Toyota, all about the drive.